morning everyone. Today we are going to do the sexual reproduction in human beings. Last time we took sexual reproduction in flower, in plants, right? So as you know, sexual reproduction takes place by the fusion of two different type of gametes, that is one male gamete and one female gamete, right? Now the male gamete and the female gamete, male gamete is called the sperm and the female gamete is known as the ovum or the egg. We call it the ovum or the egg, right? When these two fuse together, that time the fertilization takes place and a zygote is formed. So zygote is actually the fertilized egg or the ovum, right? Either we call it the egg or the ovum. The plural of ovum is called the ova. Now, if we talk about the male gamete, that is the sperm, the sperm and ova, both are very minute cells. These are the reproductive cells present in the body. And they are so minute that they can be seen only by the high power microscope, electron microscope, right? So they are very small. The sperm, it has a head and a tail, right? And in the center is present the nucleus, right? This tail helps it in its movement. This is very small, and egg is bigger than the sperm, 100 or 1,000 times more bigger than sperm. The egg, it also has nucleus, plus it has the food material and the water inside it. This is known as the yolk, right? So the egg can move very slowly, but sperm can move with the help of a tail. So what happens is, during fertilization, this sperm fuses with the egg nucleus. Actually, the nucleus of the sperm will fuse with the nucleus of the egg, and then the zygote will be formed. So this sperm, it enters like this into the egg cell, and then the nucleus of the sperm will fuse with the nucleus of the egg. So that is how the fertilization will take place, right? Now what happens after the fertilization has taken place? The zygote will be formed. Now this zygote, it keeps on dividing and redividing and form many cells inside it, right? So this is how the zygote will then start developing. Now when this male gamete and the female gamete, inside the nucleus of these, suppose this is an egg, this is the nucleus inside this nucleus has all the genetic material, that is the chromosomes, and the genes present on the chromosomes. Chromosomes are made up of DNA. So all the genetic material in the sperm and the egg is in the nucleus, all this genetic material is present. So that means when the fusion is taking place and the zygote is formed, so there should be double amount of the genetic material, that is the DNA here, after fertilization has taken place, because the genetic material of the ovum as well as of the sperm is combining together. But then this does not happen, right? If this will happen, what will happen? See, in case of human beings, if we see, in human beings, 46 number of chromosomes are present, right? Now, if 46 are coming from the male and 46 are coming from the female, then what will happen? In the zygote, there will be 92 chromosomes. Further, this will double up, then this will, that will also double up. What will happen? All over the world, there will be only DNA, nothing else, right? But this does not happen. Now, why this does not happen? Actually, in these reproductive cells, that is in the sperm and in the ovum, only half the number of chromosomes are present. These are the special reproductive cells. In other cells, the number of chromosomes is maintained, but in the reproductive cells, just half the amount of DNA is present, or we can say half the number of chromosomes are present. That is 23 chromosomes. They are passed from the male and 23 from the female. And that is how in the zygote 46 number of chromosomes is maintained. Every time fertilization takes place, the number of chromosomes is maintained because only half the number of chromosomes is present both in the male as well as female germ cells or female and the male gametes. So this is how the DNA number is maintained. Then these reproductive cells, they do not start functioning right from the birth. When a baby is born, for some years, the male and the female both have the same body structure. But as they grow up, then it starts differentiating, right? Girls, they reach the adolescent stage at about 10 to 12 years, and boys at a little later than that, that is 13, 14, 15 years. At that time, then the difference start appearing, right? Like in the females, maybe in the females it is about the height also. Than the males. Males, they have longer height. Then males, their voice start cracking, beard or mustaches start appearing, that is small hairs start appearing on the face, in the armpits, in the genital area. Same way in case of females also, in the armpits and the genital area, the hair starts growing. Then in female, the breasts start growing. So these are some of the changes. Then the menstruation starts in the girls. These are certain changes that appear at the adolescent age, right? This is known as puberty period, when the reproductive cells become functional. Now, why they do not get matured right from the beginning only? Because at the time of the birth also, inside the ovaries, there are many eggs present, right? But they are immature. So what happens is, in the beginning, all the resources of the body, they are used up for the growth, right? So at that time, the reproductive cells do not function. Only the other somatic cells, they use up all the resources of the body and they help the body to grow. And once a certain growth has reached, then this becomes slow. And the reproductive cells, they start functioning at that age. Right? So this age is known as the puberty period, or the puberty age, or the adolescence is reached at this time. Right? Now, the male as well as the female, they have different type of reproductive organs. Right? They have the different type of reproductive organs. Let's study them one by one. So these reproductive organs, fertilization can only take place when the male body and the female body come close to each other, and the sperms from the male body, they reach the female reproductive organs, and then only the zygote will be formed. So let's study about the male reproductive organs first. The male reproductive organs present in the male are the penis, right? Then the testes, the scrotum, the vas deferens, and the accessory glands present here. These are the main reproductive organs. Now, the place where the sperms are produced, that is different. The reproductive organs of the male, they are divided into two parts. One place where the sperms will be produced, and the other which will carry the sperms to the site of fertilization. Right? So first, let us study about this. Males, they have a pair of testes present, and these testes, they are responsible for the production of sperms. The sperms are produced here. Another function of testes is, one is, see, testes, first function is the production or the regulation, you can say, of sperm production. So it produces sperms. And the second function of testes is to secrete a hormone called testosterone. Testosterone. This hormone, testosterone, this is responsible for the growth also, for the growth of secondary characteristics in male. Secondary characteristics, just now I told you, as that is the voice become hoarse, and then growing of the growth of the beard and the mustaches and the hair on different parts of the body. All this is due to this hormone testosterone. And this testosterone, it also regulates the production of sperms in the males. So the testes, they secrete sperms. At one time, millions of sperms are produced. Now these sperms, they pass into this organ, just which is attached to the testes, that is epidermis. This is known as epidermis. Here the sperms are stored for a certain period of time. This testes, it is present inside a muscular pouch-like structure, or a bag-like structure, which is known as scrotum. Now this is placed just under the penis, right? The male part, penis. It is the scrotum is just under that, and this is placed outside the abdominal cavity. Now why it is placed outside the abdominal cavity? Because the sperms are produced at a little lower temperature than the normal body temperature. This is an important question also, that why is scrotum placed outside the body? Why it is placed outside the body? Because the sperms, they are released, or they are functional only at a temperature about 3 degrees Celsius below than the normal body temperature. That is why the testes, they are present in the muscular bag scrotum which is present outside the body. Right? Now, as I told you, the sperms which are released from the testes, they are stored in epidermis for some time. After that, this tube-like structure which is passing like this, this is known as the vas deferens or the sperm duct. The sperms will pass through this tube, and now this tube, it connects with urethra. Right? You've read about urethra in the excretory system also. Right? It is attached to the urinary bladder and passes the urine. So this is the bladder, urinary bladder, with the tube called urethra passing out. So this urethra and the vas deferens, they have a common opening. Right? So, and along with this, there are some accessory glands present here. That is the prostate gland and the seminal vesicles. Now, what is the function of seminal vesicles and prostate gland? They release a fluid. As the sperms are passing from here, they release a fluid. This fluid, it serves two purposes. This is also an important question, right? So they serve two purposes. One is they provide nutrition to the sperms, and another is because they are providing a fluid movement, they help in the transportation. Right? The transport becomes easy for the sperms. The movement becomes easy because they are in a fluid medium. Right? So as the sperms will pass through the vas deferens, seminal vesicles and prostate glands, they will release the fluid, and this fluid along with the sperms, right? The fluid which is released by the seminal vesicles and the prostate glands. So fluid plus sperms, this is known as the semen. Right? This fluid is known as semen. Now, they will pass through this. So, the urethra, it is a common passage for urine also and for the passage of sperms also. It forms a common passage. So, this is about the male reproductive organs. Now, we come to the female reproductive organs. Right? The female reproductive organs, let's rub this. It will become easy for you to understand. Now, the female reproductive system, it is a little more complicated than the male reproductive system. The main parts of female reproductive system are the ovaries, the oviduct. This is a pair of ovaries on both the sides. Then the oviduct, we call this oviduct as the fallopian tube also. So oviduct is present that side also and this side also. So this oviduct or the fallopian tube. Right? Then the elastic bag-like structure is called the uterus. It is very, very elastic. It can just spread out when the embryo is developing inside it or the fetus is developing inside it. Then this opens into the vagina through an opening called cervix. The uterus opens into the vagina through an opening called the cervix. Now, what happens in case of when the fertilization has to take place or when fertilization does not take place? We'll discuss both. Every month, this ovary, now this ovary, as I told you in the beginning also, that at the time of birth also, many cells many eggs are present, or ova are present inside the ovary. Now these immature eggs are also known as follicles. Right? So these follicles at the age of puberty start maturing. Right? And in 1 month, only one egg will be released by one of the ovary. Right? Ovaries are present on both the sides, but any one ovary will release one egg, and release of egg or ova from the ovary is known as ovulation. This is known as ovulation. Right? After ovulation has taken place, this fallopian tube, it is present just outside the ovary, and here it has some funnel shaped openings like this. Funnel shaped openings on both the sides, right? So the egg which is released, in ovary many eggs are present. The egg which is released, this is received by this funnel shaped ovary, and the egg passes into the fallopian tube. Here slowly it will start traveling through the oviduct. If the sperms are released into the vagina during the intercourse, what will happen? From the vagina here, the sperms will start, right? The sperm, it has got a, like this, no? Tail and a head. So these sperms, they will start traveling through the uterus, like this, and pass into the oviduct, right? If it reaches the egg and it fuses with the egg, fertilization will take place. After fertilization has taken place, a zygote will be formed. As I told you in the beginning, zygote means fertilized egg, right? After the zygote is formed, now the zygote, it will start dividing. So this zygote, it will divide many times. Many times. Keep on dividing. And in this zygote then, many, that is hundreds of cells will be formed. Right? It will be a mass of cells. And this ball of cells or mass of cells, it will travel down through the oviduct and come into this elastic bag called uterus. Meanwhile, when ovulation takes place, that is the time when the egg is released from the ovary, the uterus, it starts preparing itself to receive the zygote. How it prepares itself? It develops a very thick, soft lining, right, on both the sides. This lining is rich of blood capillaries. So, when the zygote, it comes here, it will now the zygote will travel downwards, right? And it will attach or fix itself on the wall of the uterus. Right? This is known as implantation. Implantation. So now after the implantation, what happens? See, once the zygote has implanted itself in the uterus, on the uterine wall, a disc-shaped tissue develops. Right? This disc-shaped tissue, it has some blood spaces on the mother's side. Right? Here there will be some blood spaces. And on the mother's side, there are some villi, finger-like spaces. And from here, now what happens, the connection, how these are connected? A cord-like structure is formed. Let me make it more clearly here. This is the disc-like structure, and from here a cord develops, a tube-like structure develops, and here there are some finger-like projections. So this is known, this disc-shaped tissue which is formed, this is known as placenta. And what is the main function of the placenta? It has three main functions. All the nutrition from the mother's body to the developing fetus, it will, this is the, when this has implanted itself here, at that time, then the zygote, it is known as the embryo. Right? It is known as the embryo for the first 8 weeks. And after 8 weeks, till the birth of the child, it is known as fetus. Right? Now, this developing fetus, it gets all its nutrition from the placenta. Secondly, exchange of respiratory gases, that takes place from the placenta. And third, it also helps in excreting the waste. The waste which is produced by the fetus, that will also be passed out of the body of the mother, that is from the fetus, it will be passed out to the mother's body through placenta. Right? So placenta plays a very important role. This question comes in the exam. What is placenta? What are its functions? So placenta, it is a disc-shaped tissue which develops in the uterine wall, and through the umbilical cord, it is connected to the developing fetus. All the exchange of gases, that is oxygen goes in and carbon dioxide comes out through this. Then the nutrition is brought through the blood from the mother's body to the developing fetus through this placenta. Then all the waste which is created here in the fetus, that passes into the mother's body through placenta. Right? Now this is the condition when the egg has been fertilized. But if the egg does not get fertilized after ovulation has taken place, and after ovulation has taken place and the egg is released, and suppose it does not get fertilized by the sperm, then what will happen? As I told you, that the mother's the uterus, it starts preparing itself with a thick muscular lining. So after the 14 days, this is a cycle of 28 days, right? So after the ovulation, that is on the 13th or 14th day, the egg then ruptures. If it does not meet the sperm, it will rupture and start traveling here towards the uterus. And this lining of the uterus, this will also start shredding off. This will also rupture. And because here lots of blood capillaries are present, this is rich with blood capillaries, so as to provide the support to the fetus. So what will happen? These will also rupture. And this egg, which is full of egg yolk and the water is present there, the mucus is present there. So this mucus and the this muscular wall which has ruptured, plus the blood which is coming out from the blood vessels, that will pass out through the vagina, and this continues for 2 to 5 days depending on different individuals. So this is known as menstruation. It occurs after every 28 days. First 14 days it will take after the ovulation to reach here, and then if it does not get fertilized, it takes another 14 days to travel through the uterus and then pass out of the body. So this complete cycle, it continues for a certain age, up to certain age period. The first menstruation, when it starts at the age of, that is at the puberty time, that is known as menarche. Right? That is the first menstruation when it takes place. And when a woman reaches the age of about 45 to 50, 52, 53 like this, that also depends from individual to individual, then this process stops. The process of menstruation stops, and that is known as menopause. One thing more, if the egg gets fertilized, then also what will happen? The menstruation will stop for those 9 months. Right? That will stop for the further for the 9 months. And after the birth of the child, again this will start. So this is known as gestation period. That is, gestation period is when the zygote is formed till the birth of the child. That period is gestation period, and in human beings it is for 9 months. After 9 months, then because I told you uterus, it is very elastic, the muscles will start contracting and relaxing and will push the baby out, and that passes out through vagina. Right? That is known as parturition. So these are the terms which you have learned: implantation, gestation period, ovulation, parturition, then menstruation. So all these terms you have to learn. Right? So this is all about how sexual reproduction takes place in case of human males and females. Right? So that is all in this. Rest in the next video we'll take about how to control the population, how birth control takes place. Right? Till then, keep studying and keep safe. Thank you.